Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this morning I want to talk a little bit about Leandro DeNiro and the arrest of the person that allegedly sold him these substances that caused his OD in the last couple of weeks ago. Leandro DeNiro is Robert De Niro's grandson, and he was found unresponsive, passed away with some substances. I'll get to that in a second. The stuff that was around him. And so they had a pretty good idea where this came. Now there's a bigger picture, and this sting operation apparently was set up, and this person was arrested. And I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about how these specific items, these pills, came to be, how easy it is to get this stuff. And no, it does not come from Mexico. And I'll talk about that. And I'll talk about how this isn't specifically about this one substance that everybody, the catchphrase, the catch term that everybody talks about these days, fentanyl. It's more the overall problem of addiction. Specifically, I'm going to talk about opioid addiction and how freaking evil I think it is. I'll tell you guys exactly what I'm saying, what I'm getting at in a second. Let me go over the story first. Okay, so Leandro DeNiro passed away a couple of weeks ago. Now, just in the last couple of days, apparently a sting operation was set up. Now, around Leandro, I'll probably use this picture in my thumbnail. It's in the article down below. You can see the picture. Now I can see what they actually found next to him. And there was pills found next to him that had, I believe they were blue pills with M30. Now, having taken oxycodone before, I know this is what oxycodone's 30s are usually stamped with. But these were counterfeit. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Also, there was a bag of cocaine, a straw, and some other items that I'm very familiar with. Cards using to scoop the stuff up, and the general tools, the household tools addicts usually use to in their rituals when they take this stuff. I know exactly. I had these little kinds of setups back when I was using. I'm going to say it again. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd of 2006. I'm coming up on 17 years clean and sober. And I was addicted. I started using Vicodin, Percocet, and I was being prescribed Oxy. And I switched over to heroin. I was a full-blown heroin addict. I never injected. I was a snorter. But that didn't make it any less addictive, believe me. All right. So these items were found around him. There was these pills found around him. So there's a pretty good idea. When you're an addict, this was going on back when I was an addict 17 years ago, even though fentanyl wasn't around. Addicts seek out the most dangerous, the most strongest substances. When word gets out that somebody OD'd, I know you probably heard this before. But the thing is, it's 100% completely true. I did this. I remember specifically doing this. I remember specifically asking dealers for these bags that said Manhattan on them. This is back 20 years ago. And it had the Indian head, like from a penny. It had that stamp. It was a red stamp, and it said Manhattan on it. And these were rumored to have people that were ODing on them. And I remember specifically going around the city asking for these bags. And this is the evilness of addiction, especially with opioids. Your tolerance builds up incredibly fast. And this all happens before the addict realizes it. This is the thing when I talk about how all addicts, in my opinion, all addicts seem very similar. Like when you first start using, you feel like most addicts, you feel like you have more willpower. You'll be able to quit this sooner. You're not like other people. You have more willpower, and then your tolerance builds up quicker, and you have more tolerance than other people, so you need more. Every single addict I've ever talked to has said those exact same words. You go into an NA meeting, you will hear this over and over again. And this is part of this. If there's a devil, if there is a Satan, I'm not going to get religious on you guys, but if there is, this is his number one. This is a product of hell. Let me tell you, after being addicted to this, it's just the way that it sneaks up. It sneaks up on people that use it. You become addicted. You build up a tolerance within a day or two, some substances within 1 or 2 uses, and you're physically addicted before you even know it. Before you even know it. I remember I was working in a drafting office, and I was taking Vicodin, and I couldn't sleep. I would get fidgety, and I had diarrhea all day, and I just thought I had a cold, and it probably took me years till I actually got into recovery. And so I realized, I looked at the whole scenario with a clear head looking back, and I realized that I was in withdrawals. I would get these prescriptions of Vicodin, I would get 20 extra strength Vicodin every week from my doctor, and I would take them all within a day or two. And then the other 5 days, I wouldn't be able to sleep, I'd have diarrhea, I'd feel, I didn't think I was physically addicted, I thought it was the flu or something. And this is when I first started using these opioids, and that's what I'm talking about. It sneaks up on, it really does sneak up on people. And you build a tolerance, and once you build this tolerance, the amount you took last week no longer does anything for you. The amount that you bought for $30 last week no longer, it's just a waste of $30. Plus, if you try to stop, you get these symptoms like I just talked about. So you tell yourself, look, this is terrible. I got myself in a bad, but I'm going to wean myself off. That's what all addicts tell themselves. I can do this. I got myself into it. I get myself out of it. No problem. I'm just going to get a little bit. I'm going to step it down. Be done with this. And it never happens. Every day it's the same. You'll buy this amount. Okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to step myself down over the next 5 days, and I'm done with it. I'm just going to take one so I feel comfortable, and I'm going to wean myself off. And it just keeps going up and up and up, because the drug is so strong, and the addiction starts to take hold that you'll tell yourself this every day for years. And that's where the hopelessness comes in. It gets after several years of this, you realize you just can't, the worst thing is when you use every little bit of willpower you have. I can do this, this is terrible, I'm going to do this, it's ruining my life, my money, my job, my family, I'm going to do this. And then you fail again and again and again and again. And it just gets, and then on top of that, all these physical withdrawal symptoms and the money going down where you have to steal, it gets hopeless. It turns into a living nightmare where you're sick every single day, and you're just like, oh God, I can't do this again today. I can't make this stop. That's addiction. I could actually, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. Okay, like I said, back 16, 17 years ago, the drugs weren't quite as strong as fentanyl, but it was the exact same scenario. People sought out these drugs that were the most powerful ones because what I just described to you, how the tolerance builds up, and all addicts think they're different than other addicts, that they can handle it. They're smarter, they're a little smarter, they got a little more tolerance, and all of them a little more willpower than other people. I'm not like a regular addict. I said those exact words to myself. I don't know how many times. And I look back now, I did a video talking about this. I remember telling a dealer, I just said this in a video. I told the dealer, this is when I first started using heroin. I said, I'm not an addict. I just use this stuff on the weekends. It's just a weekend thing for me. And I look back at that now, and I was like, oh my God. No wonder that dealer it was a woman. She looked at me just like, she just laughed. Now I know why. I was just, and this is what, because you realize you're lying to yourself, and you realize you can't stop. You can't do this on your own. You're going to need help. You're going to need a lot of help. And even then, it's going to be like by an act of God that you're going to be able to get yourself out of this mess. That's where the hopelessness comes in. That's why, you'll see people just going down and down and down, and it just gets hopeless. The worst thing in the world is not being able to hear yourself saying you're going to stop. I can do this, and failing again the next day. Imagine, if you lost a job every single day. You got a job. You say, I'm going to be great at this job. You go in and you get fired in the first 5 minutes. Okay, I get another job tomorrow. I get this job. I'm going to be great at this job. And you get fired again that day. After weeks and months and years of this, you're just like, I can't do this anymore. It's hopeless. I am in hell. Okay. like I said, so it was no big surprise to me that they found this woman. Because addicts will flock to this person, and this person more than likely is either addicted to the money, to the drug. And I've talked about dealers. I've seen dealers that were more addicted to getting the money, they're almost as addicted to getting the money as I was to getting the drugs. I swear to God, these dealers didn't use, but the daily routine, the power, the sheer power of having people calling you and needing you, and just people that you don't even know, just handing you wads of cash or other items. Dangerous, giving you or sex or anything you want. And it was their daily job. And I saw them I talked about how I just, about 4 years ago, I saw a guy that was dealing to me, still getting arrested. Like 12, 13 years later, after I'd been clean, he was still dealing, still going to jail. And he didn't use. I know he didn't use. He was just addicted to the money. I'm not making excuses here. Okay. So this woman, they set up a sting operation, and an agent bought 25 of these pills. Also, I neglected to mention, Leandro was found with Xanax. I forgot the official name for Xanax, but that's not really what I'm talking about here. Okay, so like I said, it was a sting operation, and she was set up, and this undercover agent bought 25 pills from Sophia Marks, 20 years old, the person that allegedly sold them to Leandro. And it probably wasn't hard to do, like I said, because her business probably increased. And then she even said to it's on record that she said to the agent that bought these 25 pills, "Be careful. I just had my friend die last week." So she knew she was selling deadly pills. And this has been going on. It wasn't fentanyl back when I was using, but it was the exact same thing. It was heroin. And it's going to, and 20 years from now, it'll be something else. The problem here is addiction. It's not Mexico. It's not M13. It's not the Democrats or liberals or immigration. It's addiction is the problem. All right. And while I'm talking about that, it took me less than 30 seconds to find everything I needed to make these pills this morning. Seriously. The pill presses, they're called pill presses. I'm going to put a picture on my thumbnail. I'm not going to tell you guys the manufacturers, the most I'm going to tell you is it came from China. And fentanyl comes from China too, mostly. For the most part, it's manufactured in clandestine labs in China. I think, in my opinion, China does have this booming economy and market, but I think it's because they don't obey a lot of the morals and scruples that the U.S. markets adhere to the laws. I don't think they allow this stuff in their own country, but they have no problem selling it to other countries. That's my opinion on this. It's not Mexico. It's really not. I could, like I said, I never would. I'm not going to give you guys any information here. Like I said, I'll use the thumbnails. And these are what you call them jigs. Pill presses. You can make one, or you can make hundreds of them at the same time. You could spend $50 on a jig. You could spend $50,000 on a machine that mass manufactures these, and just you pour the powder in, you mix it. There's mixing components. There's everything you need. Everything you need can be found and bought online in 30 seconds and delivered to your residence, to a post office box or whatever. So yeah, immigration isn't the problem. But here's the good news. Recovery is possible. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd, 2006, and it is the best freaking life I could have ever imagined. I am happier than I could have ever imagined. Recovery is possible. The links will be down below. Have a good Saturday.